Love you. Stay away from drugs. Love up the soca.
Caribbean inside. Caribbean.
Tarzan ruled the jungles of Africa. So that's why I'm saying, teach the children the truth which they hide. So therefore, Father, they'll see with honor, respect, and pride. Teach them that Africa is where civilization began. Teach them that Africa was the cradle of creation. Teach them ancient Egyptians were all African. Teach them that Plato and Socrates taught African philosophies. Teach them that poetry, music, and art was Africa's own from the start. Teach them Africans were the very, very first men to walk on this universe. Teach them. Teach them, teach them. Teach the children. Teach them, teach them. Oh, how they glorified Europe's past in the books they gave me. But they said my people were barbarous, no culture, no history. Africans were savage. We had no heritage until they came and preached Christianity. What a lie. So that's why I'm saying, teach the children the truth they must learn. Who are the vulture, stole our culture and call it their own. Teach them that Africa is the land of King Solomon, who married Makeda, the queen of Sheba, and African. Teach them Christianity belongs to us historically. Teach them Islamic culture came from Axum in Africa. Teach them Bilal of Islam came from Kush, he was Egyptian. Teach them the Holy Quran clearly states that Moses was an African. Teach them. Teach them, teach them. Teach the children. Teach them, teach them. We have been misled, we've been underfed, made slaves and exploited. We all have been fed with lies, Europeanized and taken for granted. But a change is near, I could see the sign. Let's prepare your children and mine to take their rightful place at that point in time. So that's why I'm saying, teach the children the things they never told. Like the contribution by the African to the modern world. But tell them that Africa is not the land that she used to be, because of the plunder up to this 20th century. Teach them of Mansa Musa, that great African conqueror. Teach them King Minos of old built the first navy in this world. Teach them the year's calendar was first written in Africa. Teach them how Europeans stole and still thief in Africa gold. Teach them. Teach them, teach them. The little children. Teach them, teach them. You gotta teach them. Teach them, teach them. Teach the children. Teach them, teach them. It was the Egyptians who were Cushites that gave the art of writing. Also, the Egyptians who brought to light the skill of shipbuilding. The art of embalming up to this day has never been equaled in any way. But these people were savages, Europe said. That's why I'm saying, teach the children from books of the past, like the vanquished cities, the great Maccabees, and the Kebra Nega. Teach them that Africa, as all great historians know, man found his utopia nearly 4 million years ago. Teach them The Acadia was the first tongue spoken by man. Teach them. The Demotic Scroll was the first writings of this world. Teach them. Pharaohs were Cushites, who were blacks, not whites. Teach them. Medicine began by Imhotep, he was Egyptian. Teach them. Teach them, teach them. Teach your children. Teach the children. You gotta teach them. Teach them, teach them. African history. Teach the children. Teach them for me. Teach them, teach them. Teach the children. Teach the children. You gotta teach them. Teach them, teach them. You gotta teach them. Teach the children. Teach them, teach them. Teach them, teach them. You gotta teach them.
I'm the Lord Kitchen.
Oh yes, teach the children, teach the children, teach the children, teach the children. The wisdom there of Kelvin Pope, the late Kelvin Pope, the mighty Duke, the mighty Duke, the mighty Duke. Did something unparalleled. He won the Calypso Monarch 4 years in succession. No other Calypsonian has ever done that. Not even the mighty Sparrow. Won in 1968, 69, 70, and 71, at the height of the start of the Black Power movement. Teach the children. We are in Black History Month, so we are recognizing the contribution of Africa and Africans. Thank God we don't wait until Black History Month to talk about things Black and things African. So we have the license to double down on this month. Black History Month, started by Dr. Carter Woodson, started as Negro Week, Negro History Week, and it is now Black History Month by law. And in England, they celebrate Black History Month here in October. We in the Caribbean, really, we do a lot of Black history in August, Emancipation Month. So we haven't enshrined that in our law yet, but it's coming. But we all, Black History Month has now become universal. Welcome to Politics 101 on Friday evening. Of course, tonight we have Dr. Vincent Adams with us. Last week, was his birthday, so he scampered away to do the birthday niceties. We wished him happy birthday last week. We wish him belated happy birthday again. He's with us. He's ready to roll. And we have lots to talk about tonight. We have lots to talk about tonight. If you're joining us from Guyana, welcome to Politics 101. I see Brother Dennis Atwell is here very early. Keith Beresford, always here. Philip, Albert, Easton, welcome. Dennis. No, Donna, where am I going? Donna Frezzo, welcome to Politics 101, and all of you who are joining us tonight. We say a special welcome to the people of Berbice, in particular the people of Baracara. We notice the government is there in Baracara, and they're trying to do things. We look, the government is our government. We may not have voted for the government, and they're overseeing our resources and our money. And we are glad here on Politics 101 that we have been able to talk about Shamar Joseph, but not to talk about him just as an individual, but to talk about him as coming from a particular place. And that place, Baracara. And they're all. We are going to visit Baracara in our own time. But we're glad. As I said on this program, as a little boy, we used to alternate between Bartica woman, Bobby Lang, like a long time, so long that we want for soccer. We used to say Baracara woman, and so forth. So Baracara is celebrated in song. It's a maroon country, and I say maroon country because what they did when they ran away from the slave plantation is to set up their own state. state within a larger colonial state. And whatever you say about, whatever else you say about Shamar Joseph, he's a Maroon. He's a son of Maroons. And so is his friend, his neighbor. We are now learning that Romario Shepherd, who made it before Shamar Joseph, is also a Maroon. Everyone is toasting and celebrating Shamar Joseph, and we must do that. And everyone is wanting Shamar Joseph to be everything, all things to everybody. And someone on our side are a little bit disappointed with Shamar because he thanked the president for helping him. Well, the president helped him. That's a fact. He helped him to get a CPL contract. And what is wrong with him saying thanks to the president? The president is not the only person he said thanks to. He said thanks long before we know he said thanks to the president. He said thanks to his mother and father, to his community. He pledged to go back to that community and to use the resources that are coming his way to help to lift his community. He said thanks to his teammates. He said thanks to all the West Indian cricketers, the past cricketers who saw him, from Ian Bishop, who stayed in the same hotel that he was staying with or something like that, and who spotted him, to Sir Courtney Ambrose, who actually spotted him when the Berbice Cricket Board took him there. And he said thanks to everybody. That is the poor man's, poor people way. We are grateful people. That is the African way. We are grateful people. That is the Guyanese way. We are grateful people. That is the West Indian way. We are grateful people. It is a gratefulness factor. So we can't beat Shamar because we don't like the president, and we have good reason for not liking the president politically, and some may not like him personally. You know, but not because we don't like the president politically, that Shamar should not say thanks to the president if the president helped him. You see, the problem, some people are saying Shamar is not black enough. Well, gosh, you look at that chap and you're saying he's not black. He's a very conscious brother. Look at that chap coming from a place where there's no high school. And look at the way he expresses himself. He's a very wise young man, very wise young man. C.L.R. James talked about the fusion of time, place, and person. He says, great individuals are really the combination of time, place, and person. Coming at a particular time, coming from a particular place, and then having the personal capacity to absorb the energies that are sent out to them. We have had these stories before. Michael Holden didn't play very many test matches. First-class matches. I remember in 1974 hearing Michael Holden bowling to Clive Lloyd in a Shell Shield match and hitting Clive Lloyd a couple of times. And that was enough. That was enough for Lloyd the next year, 1974-75, going to India to take my 1975-76, going to Australia to take Holden. Holden didn't play very many first-class matches. We have those stories. Fidel Edwards roughing Brian Lara up in the nets. And Brian Lara said this chap is potential. He got him into the test team. We've had these stories. What is unique, and there is something unique about the Shamar Joseph story, is that he came at a particular time. And he came from a place in which he had a story that would resonate with all of us and resonate with the world. And when you listen to that young man and you see him moving on the cricket field, you know that he has the capacity to absorb the energies that we are sending out to him. That is, those moments, they don't come every day. So I'm making the point that many people got into test teams play test cricket without very much first-class cricket. Many people did that. Many people did that. But every now and again, one person comes along that is able to bring time, place, and person. C.L.R. James, who wrote that the greatest cricket book ever written, Beyond the Boundary. Welcome to Politics 101. Good evening to my sister Donna, Liverpool. I think Donna, of course, is joining us from out there, I think in French Guyana or in Suriname, one of the two. Good evening to all those of you who are joining us from England. Good night to you. Joining us from England, from France. Welcome to Politics 101. It's Friday night. Friday night is a special night in the week for those of us who come from the social bottom. You know, if you come from the social top, every night is Friday night. And you come from the social bottom, every night is not Friday. Friday night is the night of payday. And although we have gone past all of that, it still remains payday for a lot of people. Friday is special. You know, Saturday is market day. I remember a little boy, you know. The food was a little bit late on Saturday because Auntie got to market, but we used to get chow mein Saturday. And Sunday the food is late because you gotta go to church, but we used to get nice soup with nice meat and so on, right? These days are special reference. And it's the human side. We are political people and, you know, we do politics, but as I keep saying on this program, what we're trying to do is to socialize ourselves to be political activists and political performers and all of that stuff, but above all of that, to be human beings, because that's what we are. We're human beings. And there must be the human side of everything that we do. Welcome to Politics 101. It's so lovely, so wonderful to be Guyanese, so wonderful to be West Indian. We may be down, but we're not out. The struggle goes on, always. And of course, the tears that have been shed. We saw Professor Thomas breaking down here on the program 2 nights ago. As I tried to link his own life's work and Shamar Joseph giving life to a lot of what the rest of us have been doing. We see ourselves in him. We see our work in him. You know, when James came up with the whole notion of time, place, and person, he was analyzing Sir Garfield Sobers and Dr. Slinger Francisco, the Mighty Sparrow. And he was talking about their particularity and what they represent. Sobers, as some of you may remember, starting to play way back in 1953 as a little 16-year-old boy, batting at number 8 and number 9, I think. He came in the team as a left-arm spinner, batting number 8 and number 9. Became the greatest cricketer in the world. His first century was 365, first test century. And became a genius. If God gives every sport one genius, cricket will have to choose Garfield St. Albans Sobers, coming from a little island in the Caribbean, the son of ex-slaves, but with a ball and a bat in his hand. When the rules are equal for everyone, he becomes a genius. And that is a lesson here. When the rules are equal, when the playing field is as level as it can get, what the sons and the daughters of the Caribbean can do. The poorest cricketing country in the world. And I take the liberty of calling the Caribbean a country. But we did what no other team has ever done, and that is we ruled the cricket world, to quote David Rudder, we ruled the cricket world for almost 2 decades. The longest any team has dominated a team sport in human history. It's no mean feat. And that is why I heard Carl Hooper saying that they had some drinks on the night after the victory, and the boys in the team were drinking, and he said he looked at them and he knew that even they didn't understand what they just did. And understandably so. These are young people who were born 20-odd years ago. A lot of them weren't born the last time we won in Australia. And they're seeing the world through the prism of today. But when Hooper and Lara cried, they had lived long enough to understand the political and social significance of what happened on that night. For us, night. It was day in Australia. They understood it, and that's where the tears came from for Lara and for Hooper. It is because they understood what that means for our humanity. You can walk the world with your head up. Some of you can't remember when Nelson Mandela walked out of that prison, 1990. I remember it. I was still a young man. I was in college, university. The world stopped. The world stopped. The world stopped. The world stopped when he walked out of that prison. And I remember the feeling one of the times that we cried. And when Mandela came to America, and Ted Koppel, the doyen of broadcast TV, used to do a program called, I think it was Nightline, and there was Ted Koppel interviewing Nelson Mandela, and wanting Nelson Mandela to condemn Muammar Gaddafi and Fidel Castro and Yasser Arafat, and Mandela sat up erect, African king, Mr. Koppel, you do not tell me who my friend should be and who I should. And we went to college the next day, and nobody said anything. We were just high-fiving one another, boys and girls, black men and women. We didn't have to say it. Here was a black man talking back to a white man at a time when black people did not talk back to white people. And we knew it. The moments. There's a reason that Sidney King's, no Quayana, this confounded nonsense must stop as stuck in our lexicon. You didn't talk to white people like that. And here was Quayana talking back to white people. In polite terms today, what he actually said is that I will not stand for this confounded nonsense. Well, in those days, confounded, I will not stop for, today we would say, I will not stand for this so-and-so nonsense. But in those days, confounded was so-and-so. That's what Quayana was saying, so-and-so. And of course, forever the creative people, we take the Quayana thing and we said, this confounded nonsense must stop. We put the folklore on it. And it has survived to this day. Because Quayana was talking back to the white man, the governor, not just a little not natal white man, governor. Meddling in his ministry, was then Minister of Works. I will not stand for this conformity. I will not stand for this so and so nonsense. You know what that did to ordinary Guyanese? It says to them, look, we are equal to white people. We can point the finger in the face. Good evening and welcome to Politics 101. We're doing it last night. Some of you left before we said Itpadaji doesn't have money. They can't pay the light bill. They can't pay the salaries. They get water bill to pay. The government is not giving them the money, the subvention, the $100 million that has been voted by Parliament. And I asked for us to make our small contribution to Itpadaji. I asked last night, and I'm repeating it here tonight. Please help a worthy cause. Please send your contributions, and we will make sure we get the contribution. We get the contribution to Itpadaji. They're really trying to keep the doors open. They're trying to keep their doors open. Here we go. This is what I'm searching for. There we have the Cash App and the other thing, PayPal. And the same PayPal information can be used for Zelle. Please, we are appealing to you to help. You don't know how far $20 could go in helping to pay a bill. The government is trying its best to strangle Itpadaji and by extension strangle the African community. And we are asking you to, in the African tradition, in the Guyanese and West Indian tradition, to put our little dotty one dotty bill down, and let us come to the aid of Itpadaji. You can send your contributions as small as they can be. We try to get it to them as quickly as possible. And those of you who can give a larger contribution, we appreciate it. And your contributions will be acknowledged by Itpadaji. Please, I'm appealing to you to come to the aid. They do get help, but remember the entrepreneurial class, the Black entrepreneurial class, is small, and they're being bombarded to contribute to any and everything. You know, we at the bottom can make our contribution. And here in Politics 101, I'm appealing to you all. All right, I think we're ready to roll. We're ready to roll. Let's bring in Dr. Vincent Adams, who himself was a cricketer. And well, I say is a cricketer because you never stop being a cricketer. Represented Guyana, and from what I heard, Doc, you could have gone on to represent the West Indies, but injury intervened and we lost you to cricket. But you were not lost to other endeavors. You are now one of our best engineers, a pioneer in the oil industry and so on. But it would have been nice because you were part of that 69, 68, 69. You would have played alongside Kalicharan and Fredericks and Leonard Bachan. I think Butcher was still playing at that time.
Lawrence Rowe,
yes. You played against him. Solomon. Were you in that team that was it the Combined Islands beat us in 69 or we beat them?
I can't remember. Well, I played my debut was in 69 and they beat us.
Yes.
They beat us. Right?
I remember that. I remember that. That's why
both me and Alvin made our well, Alvin had played a game before, but I made my debut in 69. As a matter of fact, Lawrence Rowe made his debut in 69. We both came out of the 68 Youth Series in Barbados. So I played for Guyana. Lawrence played for Jamaica. and Alvin and I played in that game against the Islands in
The
St.
islands, and that time the islands were quote unquote weak. And I remember
Yeah.
I was a 9-year-old child, and I remember crying because I heard that the combined islands was weak and they beat Guyana, and I think you all played in Dominica.
No, we
Was
played
it?
the year before was Dominica, but we played that game in St. Kitts. As a matter of fact,
In St. Kitts,
we
yes,
had to make. I remember. I think we had to make 285 in the final innings to win the
yes,
game, and
yes.
I made I made 47 and got out with the last ball of the day before the end of the third day. I got at 47, and that made a big difference because we had only lost one wicket, and we were like I thought close to 100 for one, and then after I got out, the next day we just didn't make it.
Yes, yes. Steve Kumash was in that team too, no?
No, Steven didn't play then. He didn't play.
He didn't play. Yes, you would
Steven
have.
was always in and out because he was always injury prone, and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and anytime Steven hear that there's gonna be a lot of heat with the fast bowlers.
I
Yeah,
remember.
as a matter of fact, that's a story that has been told several times. I mean, I remember when Roy Fredericks had gotten a lot of opportunities, and they decided basically that Roy had gotten his opportunities, and then Stephen, I think that was which year anyway. But when we were playing against Barbados in Guyana, and was Harlan Griffith, and Stephen showed up with his hands cut. Nobody knows how and said he couldn't play. And then they were looking. The next person in line was supposed to be Romain Etwaru,
Yes.
but Romain had already left and gone back to Berbice. And when they looked in the stand, there was Roy Frederick. So they hustled at him. I think he even borrowed the cricket pants or anything. They hustled at him, put on his clothes, got out there. He made 100 in the first innings, 100 in the second innings. And that was, we all know the end, the rest of the story.
Yes, 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 yes. Yes, Stephen, I remember got hit by Andy Roberts. Andy Roberts hit a lot of people, but I remember him in Kumash.
He didn't like it. He didn't like it when it was too,
yeah.
But he was a good. He was technically a very, 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 very good batsman. Technically.
Yeah. And he went on to serve West Indies cricket. He captained Guyana in the 70s.
Secretary. He was the secretary of the
first CEO of the
cricket. And a great guy, nice gentleman outside of cricket and everything. That's really decent, nice guy.
Yeah. Let's zero in on the Shamar Joseph story, because I'm sure his story is your story, as it is my story and the story of all of us who have come out of the so-called boondocks, as they say in the United States. They call it in Jamaica the cane piece. We call it, come out there from the cracks and the alleys, as you all will say in Linden.
The alleys of Christianborg, not Linden. Christianborg.
Christianborg. There you go. As you watched, as I'm sure you did, because I know you don't play with your cricket. As you watch Shamar Joseph that night, what were your emotions?
Let me tell you, my skin was just crawling. I mean, I was getting goosebumps, and I couldn't believe I was heading to the bathroom several times and hoping that we can bring it home, and this kid would be the person to bring it home. This year, he is a special kid, and it, like you said, it's close to home for me. Even though my situation is not even as significant as his, I was the first person that came out of Linden to play cricket for Guyana, and come out not even Linden, but to where the part of Linden, Christianborg, and that meant that you would not believe. I was an instant hero and all this kinds of stuff, but then of course you've got to realize that you suddenly realize, even as a young kid, that you're not playing for yourself anymore. You play, you've got an entire community. I remember my first game back in Guyana in that same 69 was against Barbados, and the entire South Stand, they had a whole bunch of buses that came to Linden. That entire South Stand was packed with folks from Linden. So you know the pressure is there.
Mhm.
And I hope that they, that this kid has got some people to talk to him around him, because he's gonna get a lot of hangers on now. And
Yeah.
and hopefully he's gonna be able to handle it, but he's gonna need that type of an advice. Because Basil Butcher, when I gotten into the automobile accident, I've got to credit Basil Butcher for where I am, and I say it all the time. I thought that my life had already evaporated because I was getting ready to even sign a contract to go play league cricket in England. And when I got into that accident, Basil called me in his office. He said, "Hey, let me tell you something. I know that you walk around with your head down. You ought to be proud, first of all, at your age, to be representing your country." And then he said, "Let me tell you something." He said, "I know that you've tasted a little bit of fame now, and everybody wants to be around you. But when you see you get around 30, 35, and it's over, those same people, they're going to be looking for the next Vincent Adams, and you're going to be disappearing. So and education is the most important thing. That's how I ended up at university, because of him.
Mhm.
So I hope that this kid gets that type of an advice to make sure that he's balanced, and don't get carried away with all of this stuff. The one thing that I admire about him, though, Doc, just from the guy, he looks so loose and
Yeah.
natural.
Natural. Yeah.
Even he may not sound as smooth as somebody, but he's speaking from the heart,
Yeah.
and you can see that he's genuine. And when he spoke, he's very, very humble, obviously. And the guy was ready to go for. He could have gone. He could bowl all day long. And we all say, well, okay, he only started playing cricket last year, fourth class cricket last year, but that may turn out to be a good thing, because he doesn't have any wear and tear on his body like other fast bowlers. This guy was clocking, and I don't think that was clocking now above 145 kilometers per hour, consistently. Now you tell me he has just started playing cricket, and if somebody gets to sharpen up his technique, and so, he will be topping 150 consistently very soon. Again, he's just starting to learn, and he's got the enthusiasm, and the guy is he's strong and he's fit. He's one of the fittest players that, and the guy is just loose. He doesn't have a nervous bone in his body. So I'm looking forward to him. But the one thing that and I heard, you mentioned the stuff about the him praise, thanking the president. I don't know why people would be upset at that. That should come as natural. But what I didn't like was, when I looked at the big reception at the airport and everything, I think that the politicization of what is going on here. When you look at it, you had ministers, then you had the president of the Ghana Cricket Board. Then the guy who should have been there with him is the president of the Berbice Cricket Board,
Cricket board.
Foster, who
Foster.
brought him up. But you know what they did to Foster? They sidelined Foster when they got into office, and this president used people like the Harpers and the Barrys and them to get into office. And when he threw them aside. The Ghana Cricket Association with Harper and Neil Barry and those folks, and Foster, they threw them aside. Foster was the Ghana Cricket Association, not the Ghana Cricket Board representative on the West Indies Cricket Board. They removed him, and they tried to get people to run against him as the president of Berbice Cricket Board of Control. He's the guy that has done more for Berbice cricket in the last several years, and he was the one responsible for getting Shamar in the camps where he was discovered by Courtney Ambrose, but he's nowhere to be seen. Suddenly, all of these ministers showing up at the airport that probably, never had anything to do with cricket. The Ramsden had given a really nice speech, by the way, and it was appropriate for him. But he very words of encouragement and good words of advice. But then, they should have at least showed the decency to bring, Mr. Foster in. So it's this thing about politicizing this thing now that I don't like, and I hope that Shamar can just be careful.
Be careful, and that's it. I mean, the PPP will politicize and politicize in a partisan way, and not understanding the political and ethnic implications of what they are doing.
Yeah.
Foster did so much. I mean, look. I mean, it's not. I mean, Shamar is the star, but there was Sinclair in that team.
Yep.
There was Morty there.
Yeah.
I mean, Edmire's lost his way, it seems.
Yeah.
But he's from Bobby's.
Yeah.
He's from that area. Romario Shepard.
Romario.
And I heard Bishop talk about the young fast bowler Silas, that he said is quick. He's a young man. He hasn't played all the youth cricket, and he's hoping that somebody in Guyana pay attention to him. I think I heard the young man name, but that Berbice is the place that is producing the young cricketers because of Hilbert Foster.
Absolutely, it's because of Hilbert Foster. I have no question. And when I look at this kid, I could not believe it that this kid did not play cricket for a long time. The kid had a discipline, without getting into the technical stuff. The discipline, if you notice, to hit the line and the length, he was in that zone there. That off stump where I used to be an opening batsman, and the worst place, if you keep attacking that off stump all the time, it's in my mind whether I should play or not. But for him at this age to be right in that channel with good length and with line and length, it was incredible. So you could imagine what he's gonna do, if he keeps up that discipline and keeps fit and everything. This is a special kid, and it, like you said that wonders, we can achieve wonders as long as we are on the same level playing field, and with the same rules, and all we ask for are the opportunities. He had the opportunity through Foster and others, and he's delivered. That's all we ask for: a level playing field and the opportunity to perform.
If you're joining us from the quarantine from Berbice, good evening. Good evening, Mr. Foster. If you happen to be passing by, I think Foster is Butcher's son, no? Or
I can't remember if he's Butcher's son or his cousin or something. They're
related,
though. They're related.
Yes, I think he's related to Basil Butcher. But incredible guy, and his heart is in the thing. And at a time when we are at a loss as to how to handle and manage these young men, because we're dealing with young men and women who are coming out of poverty, impoverished conditions, and they are now seeing big money. I mean, we can't tell them not to go to the leagues.
No, that's
and
correct.
Earn the big money. I mean, my God, look where they're coming from. But we have to manage them, and I think the West Indies Cricket Board and the regional boards, we have failed to manage these young men. And I look at somebody like Edmire, who I think has really let so many of us know.
Yes.
Because he is as talented as they come. But if you look at what Edmire contributes to Berbice cricket, you can see the fingerprint of Hilbert Foster there. Because Edmire gives a lot of monetary contribution to things. And when I look at that, I say to myself, there is still hope for Shimron. Because I think whoever is dealing with him in Berbice has already instilled in him that giving back.
Yes.
We have to get his head right, and I hope that they've dropped him now. That he come to his senses. Lance Gibbs once said, if he catch him, he will bend him over and put take off his belt and put some lashes on him.
And Lance don't make joke. Lance is a very one of he's you talk about the disciplinarian, Lance and Butcher, the old school guys. You couldn't mess with them when you're around them. Yeah, I mean, they would drop you. They don't care how big a star you are. So Lance was serious when he was saying that.
Yes, and if they're friends and family of Shimronet Maya listening, want to say that we love that brother.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
love him, and we want him to take his place in the highest form of wrestling. He should be playing all formats. I mean, he's just talent. He's all of the old talent come together in a new skin.
And
But
still a young man. And
yes,
I look at him, and I'm not, this is not personal. I saw a picture here recently, and he's just ballooned up now.
yeah, yeah,
And just the T20, he's bigger than just T20. I like I said before in some of the chats, the man needs, because we know they're not taken care of when their careers are over. So they need to go make as much money as possible with the T20s. And, look at Kohli and all those guys who are playing all three formats all the time. So, he should not only, the money will come, but at the same time, he play it for the pride of, of representing your country and the Caribbean, because that cricket is more than just a game to the Caribbean.
yes,
It's
yes,
part of our culture. It's a religion to us. I mean, yeah. So those are the kinds of things, and you got to remember, you didn't get there by yourself.
that's it.
You didn't get there by yourself. There's lots, like when I came out in my community, people practically held my hands as a little boy to, to take me and do the things for me that brought me where I am, so
Yeah, put on your pat for you.
absolutely.
Walk behind you. I remember as a little boy walking there, but I was older than Kalupa. But
Yeah.
when I saw Kalupa as a little youth man, I said, I have never seen anything like this since Rohan Babulal Kanai. I had never seen an artist. I
Yes,
saw
yes.
Kanai when Kanai was going out, and then when I saw Upas a little, I used to walk all over Georgetown. I remember youth competition being played, I think 1985 in Ghana. That's when I see people like Kenneth Benjamin and them. Me
Yeah.
and my partner, Dr. Nigel Westmans, he might be listening. We used to walk behind Kalupa at all them ground Everest we playing
Yeah,
and so
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Because you saw genius in these guys and so forth. Doc, the government, of course, is using the opportunity. They're sneaking into Baracara. They're doing this, they're doing that, and they're giving the impression they're upgrading sporting facilities. But behind that, there is something else that is happening. Talk to us.
Well, and this year has been a serious problem. Not only, and it's happening in Linden because I've been following it. I've been part of some of the protests and everything else. Look, the people of Guyana would welcome upgrading of facilities throughout the country, but the government is going in and tearing up the grounds and everything else without even getting the community involved as to how it should be. And not only that, for example, in the Linden, in the Mackenzie Sports Club, where I grew up, and most of the kids from that area grew up playing at that Mackenzie Sports Club in the afternoons. It'd be packed with people playing all kinds of sport. They tore up everything, tore up. Again, it's not that we didn't welcome it. The people who are not involved, and they switch it to just a football, and then no cricket, and then they're going to put cricket someplace. They did the same thing, I think, at the facility in Bartico, and they brought a Trinidadian company to do the work, not nobody local. So now, that notwithstanding, it is kind of funny. So now, to politicize it, my good friend, and I like the guy, the young Ramson. I saw him give a speech, and Ramson now is peddling this Mackenzie Sports Club completion. Well, it's in Watuco. Well, for those of you who know Linden, Watuco is the place where the white folks during the bauxite time used to live, and black folks couldn't. There was a barrio, a big thing. So we couldn't. None of us, like people looking like myself, could go in except the maids. And when the maids go in, they used to spend like a week or 2 weeks in their quarters, and then they come back. So we couldn't go in that. So that was what Watuco was. So what Mr. Ramson is saying, that now with the sports club, he said, as a matter of fact, he said the sports club is in Watuco. where the local folks couldn't go. So now they're gonna get an opportunity to go there. So he's trying to tie it now that suddenly the sports club is gonna open up the door for the local folks, the colored people, the brown and black folks to go in there. That's absolutely nonsense. It is not true. The Mackenzie Sports Club is right in the heart of, in the village, we call it, where people like myself and everybody else used to go. But so these are the kinds of things. Stop politicizing. And I don't know. And it could be, it could be that he doesn't know, and he probably hears something about Watuka, and suddenly want to tie Watuka to the Mackenzie Sports Club. But for folks, the Mackenzie Sports Club has never been in Watuka. It's down in the village where all of us were, where all of us used to go and hang out, and where we learned to play table tennis, cricket, football, everything. And they're upgrading the facility. Nobody has a problem with it, but you have to get the community involved when you're upgrading these facilities as to what we need. And then you're going to bring a Trinidadian company to come and do the work, not the local people. Mm-hmm. So those are the kinds of things that we detest. It's not welcoming upgrades. Everybody welcome upgrades, but let us have a say.
Let us have a say. Dr. Vincent Adams here tonight on Politics 101. Welcome all of you down. Please share the link. I notice a number of you have done so. Those of you who have not done so, please do so. And you notice on the little sign on the screen, we are asking you to contribute to ITPADA G. ITPADA G, which has been allocated $100 million, and the PPP government has withheld that money from ITPADA G. ITPADA G coming out of the International Decade of the People of African Descent. And they're still open, their doors are still open, they're still doing work, and they're existing on contributions. Things are hard, things are bad with them, as we say. And I'm asking you to please contribute, give your small contribution, because I know we are not rich people around this joint. Please, your small donations of $10, $20, $30, whatever you can give, please donate to ITPADA G. They have light bill to pay, water bill. They have salaries to pay to the skeleton staff that is still there. And I am appealing on behalf of Politics 101 to please contribute. The Cash App, PayPal, Zelle information is on the screen there. I have not gotten the information yet on Guyana. I know you all have MMG story and all of that thing there for those of you in Guyana. I'm going to get that information so that those of you who are there, but you can go into the office if you're in Georgetown. It's on North Road. It's the old Desmond Hoyt's house. Is Desmond Hoyt's building. Everyone should know that. And that's where the office is located. You can go there and make your small contribution. We've got to keep our organizations alive. And we've got to learn the culture of making our small contribution, because it's our culture. That's how we are here. Our villages were bought by these people pooling their resources. Go under that bed, go in the mattress, as we used to say. Go under the mat, go in the mattress and pull out. And, they contributed and bought land and turned those into villages. Please make your contribution to ITPADA G, Cash App, WhatsApp, however, and we'll get it to them. They really, 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 really need it. Doc, teachers are going on strike on Monday, and they're projected to strike for 2 weeks. We've been talking boots on the ground. We've got to stand up against this regime. The teachers are taking the lead through their union, the Guyana Teachers Union, taking the lead. They're going on strike. The government has responded by saying, first, the strike is political. No, we've been hearing that. I as an old trooper, you're an old trooper, back in the PNC days, they used to say, strikes are political. What the PNC didn't do, and this is significant, they didn't go on to say strikes are illegal and illegitimate. And if you look at the statement coming out from the government, they're saying to those teachers, this strike is illegitimate and illegal. My God, that is ungodly, but that is threatening workers with the force of the state for doing something that our foreparents not so long ago gave their lives for the right to strike. Our country was invaded in 1953 by our colonial master because the National Assembly passed a law recognizing the right of trade unions to strike under a PPP government in 1953. Britain invaded us. And here is a PPP government today threatening workers not to strike. Your comments?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's the whole modus operandi of this government. It's not about the teachers alone. It's the silencing. It's the silencing and intimidating of the entire population.
Yeah.
This is what it is. It's that's, I mean, they in Guyana, and they know that nobody wants this. As soon as you stick your head out, they chop it off, and it impacts your family. And so that's what it is. It's intimidation, and to try and silence the population. That's how they operate. That's how they're operating. So that's what this is all about. We have our entire country. I remember when growing up in Linden, and as soon as there is any little thing, we have a strike.
There you go.
We used to be striking. It used to be looking.
Wildcat strike. I mean, Linden invent that in Guyana.
Absolutely. It used to look like it was every month there's a strike, because, but that's the way that our lively, we increase things like wage, working conditions, and everything else. But and these are the same people. I look back and I like a Chetty Jagan must be turning in his grave when he sees this behavior, this autocratic behavior of this government. Because that's what it is. It's just to intimidate and to scare people and to control, control everybody. Say you follow their dictates or you don't survive. That's what it's about here. So I'm hoping that the entire population comes out, not only the teachers, because it may start at the teacher.
Yes.
And I am saying that every single, all of the different, the entire workforce of Guyana should come out and support these teachers. You remember we had which year was it? Was it after the Calder budget, or
the Calder budget, 1962?
When they said the same thing, they threatened the civil servants. They couldn't strike, and when the civil servants came out in full force. But what I'm hoping that it doesn't happen. That it's only that the teachers are now divided. That you're going to be having probably those who support the PNC, that's what I'm worried about. But all of the different labor communities, they have to come out. I'm talking about sugar workers and everybody, because who's going to be next? The sugar workers had their share. The cane cutters had their taste of what this is all about. When they when they went on strike, and they were completely ignored, and now it's the teachers, and the teachers need to stand out, and we as a community need to stand behind them and support them also.
We want to stand them and support them.
Even if we as well, of course I'm here, but I'll give whatever support I can. Even if the entire community, the civil population of the country should come out and support them, because this here is insane. It's unfair for you to be telling the teachers don't even know how much money their pay raises they're going to get. The civil servants on the whole, they had a 6.5%. They put aside now $21 billion, and they don't even know if that 21, all of it is going to go towards the civil servants. But I did some quick calculation. So you've got 54,000 civil servants, and you've got, I think, 70,000 retirees, pensioners. So if that's about 124,000. If you let's assume that each of those individuals is supporting 3 people, right? Or even 2. Let's take 2. That's when you multiply that by 2, that's 250,000 people in Guyana. That's more than quarter, about 30% of the population, right? And if you look at the total amount of money, that 21 billion that I'm talking about, and if you add up the money for the pensioners, it's 2 billion. So we've got, let's say, 24 or 25 billion dollars total for them. So you're getting a third of the population is getting 2% of the budget.
There you go.
And roads alone, and if roads is getting almost 20% of the budget.
Mm-hmm.
I know where the roads money is going to way less than 1% of those contractors who are building. So that's the disparity. That's the disparity we're dealing with here. Again, I want to repeat that. A third, at least about a third of the population is getting 2% of the budget, compared to roads, which goes to way less than 1% of the contractors. They're getting almost 20% of the budget. So that is where the disparity is coming in. That is where the disparity is.
That is where the disparity is coming in. And we call on you to support the teachers' strike starting on Monday. Those of you who are parents, please, in the interim, pick up the slack. Pick up the slack. You yourself should become teachers now when the teachers are on strike. Help your children when they come home when they're in the afternoon. Help them, because we've got to support our teachers. There's no school without teachers. And teachers all over the world are disrespected. But Guyana is the worst when it comes to the way they treat teachers. The way they treat teachers. And the teachers have a just cause. They have a case and they have a right. They've begged. They've cried. And now they are taking action. Let us give them our support. And talking about support, please, IPADG needs your support. IPADG needs your monetary support. Please support them. They have to keep their doors open. They have to continue to do the work they're doing. The government has withheld the meager $100 million from them. And please make a small contribution, or if you can afford more than a small contribution, to IPADG. The digits and all the stuff, it's there on the screen. Please make your contribution. Brother Vincent,
before we get off of that, and you know, the sad thing about it, I listened to the vice president as usual, his press conference. So now their tactic is they start going after Coretta McDonald.
Yes.
He's starting attacking her, showing that how she's partisan and how she used to go to his office and complain about the, you know, when he was in the opposition. The other thing, that the most important thing is for the parents to support these teachers.
Yes.
You know, I always say that the teachers are really co-parents of kids.
Yes.
You spend as much time with the teachers as you probably spent with your own parents, and your teacher has as much to mold you as your parents. So they're co-parents of these. I still remember a lot of things that I didn't learn from my parents, but from my teachers, that they instilled in me certain discipline and values that you get from your teachers. So I hope that the parents understand the importance of it and put aside the politics. You know, it's this here is all about fairness and common decency, in the way that you treat your people.
The way you treat your people, Dr. Vincent Adams, Dr. Adams. I noticed that they've done a kind of survey on the oil governance issue, and we are not doing too well on oil governance. We have been saying it. You have been in the forefront of oil governance, but now it seems as though the outside people are saying that the governance of our oil is not good. Talk to us about that.
Oh, absolutely. This here didn't come from me or you. I just want to make that clear to the folks. This came from an organization, an internationally recognized organization that monitor the oil producing nations. So they've monitored, I think, like 80 countries, and it's called Transparency International. And sorry, the Natural Resource Governance Institute, Natural Resource Governance Institute, and they ranked Guyana as weak. Guyana got a score of 55 out of 100. They rank it as weak. But even more than that, the Transparency International, which I think is more, well known by everybody else, they come up with a corruption index, and they monitor that every year. And here is the report from them. They said that, and this was in the newspapers here recently, by the way, the corruption index has stagnated at 40. As a matter of fact, here I'm going to read so you don't think that I am, I'm making this political. Here's what it says. It says the fight against corruption has stagnated in Guyana in the recent years after the country had dug itself out of the morass during the years of the previous government. Transparency International observed in its latest corruption index. Here's what it says. When the PPPC demitted office back in 2015, the country was scoring below 30 points. However, during the years of the APNU AFC, that score steadily improved, reaching 41. So it increased by over 30-something% within that short 4-year period. And then it said 3 full years since the ruling PPPC returned to government, the ranking has stagnated at 40, ranking it at 87th out of 180 countries. 87. So the gist of the story is, when the PPPC demitted office in 2015, the ranking, and the lower the number, the worse it is. The ranking was less than 30, but let's call it 30. During a very short years, it went up to 40 when they took out in 2020, and it has stagnated in 2020. It hadn't moved since then. So that's the gist of the story here.
That's the gist of the story. Sisters and brothers, the teachers are going on strike on Monday. Please support the strike. Your parents, please support the strike. Your ex-teachers, please support the strike. Your public servants, please support the strike. All of us. They are striking in the first instance for 2 weeks. We'll see where it goes. They're attacking Sister Coretta McDonald. They've targeted her. Please, we've got to protect that sister. We've got to protect that sister. I hear Jack Dio say, well, she complained. She's fair. She's fair. When the coalition was there, she represented teachers. And if the coalition was doing wrong thing, she said so then. She said so then. And now you are doing worse than them, and she's saying so, and you want to kill her. You want to kill her. We've got to protect that sister. We've got to protect that sister, because that's what they do. They single out our people, and they cut them off. They kill them. We were talking about what they did to Hilbert Foster of the Barbies Cricket Board of Control, the man who's responsible for all those young men and women coming out of Barbies, taking Darren Sammy there, taking Courtney Ambrose there, I think Courtney Walsh been there, I think Jimmy Adams, when they bring them in. And we have seen the fruits of his work. And they've cut him down, cut him out. And they want to do the same thing to Sister Coretta. We must not allow it to happen. We must not allow it to happen.
And just to show, just add, I mean, it's shameful to show you the disinterest in education. It was just in the news. As a matter of fact, it's in today's newspapers. A school in Bartica, where kids are in a classroom with umbrellas in the classroom, not outside, in the classroom, because of the leaky roof. And you're spending all of this money giving people contracts, $1 billion contracts here for doing, and you cannot spend a few thousands or hundreds of thousands Ghana dollars to repair, to make sure those kids. That shows how they care for education and for our future.
Imagine in 2023 in Guyana, children have to be sheltering under umbrella in
In
school.
the classroom.
Vincent Adams, I never call you full mouth, but I got to call you tonight. Vincent Adams, repeat that for us.
Yes, the kids. I mean, when folks, a couple of my relatives call me and ask me if it's fake news. you know, it's for real. The kids are in the classroom, not outside. They are in the classroom with umbrellas while they're writing their stuff. And they're even, apparently, they're trying to fix the umbrella where they don't have to be holding it, where they can, hook it into the desk. Where they've got the umbrellas over them to shade them from the leaky roof while they're doing their work. That's what's happening. It's on the news. As a matter of fact, I noticed because now it's been exposed, they said that they're going to close the school for them to repair it. These are the kinds of things that are, because now I guess it's been exposed, and they're not responding until you really shame them, and that's the bad part of it. They're not proactive. They're going about their daily basis and doing whatever they want to just terrorize people and intimidate and scare but it's real. This here is a real.
Yes, I read it in the media.
It's real.
I read it in the media. And it's such a shame. It's such a shame. Good evening to all of you. Good night to some of you. Good afternoon to some of you. Welcome to Politics 101. If you're from Berbice, big up yourself. If you're from Quarantine, big yourself up. If you are from Kanji Creek, whether you are the mouth of the creek or you're down there in Baracara, big yourself up, because you're the real deal. You are the real deal. And for those of you who are joining us, you're wondering why I have the story on the screen. Itpadaji needs our help. The government has withheld funds from them. They're trying to keep their doors open. They are short of funds. Please make a small contribution. Make your small pledge of $10 or $20, $25, whatever you can afford. $5, make a pledge. If you can afford more, please give so that we can keep that African Guyanese organization open, and that they can continue to do the empowering work that they've been doing now since President Granger in 2016 pledged the government support for the decade. I was there when he came to Coffee 250, and he made that declaration in his address to the Coffee 250 State of the African Guyanese Community Annual Conference. And I remember him coming off the stage and stopped to speak with Vincent Alexander, who's now the chairman of Itpadaji, and myself. And he said, you all have to make this thing happen. And we made it happen. And we want you to continue to make it happen. So please make some contribution to keep Itpadaji alive, to keep Itpadaji's doors open. You can do the Cash App story, the PayPal, the Zelle, the information there is on the screen. Next week, I'm going to have the information for those of you in Guyana, where you can call to give and to make your donation. We've got to keep it going. Those of you who can make larger donations, the entrepreneurial people, the people who own your small business, please. Those of you in the diaspora, I know that we tax you all a lot. I know that. I mean, you all already sending a whole set of barrel and story and keeping your families at home. And we ask you one more time to come out for your organization. Itpadaji, put we money where we mouth it, and we know that we can do that. We love you. We love you. Doc, there are a couple of things you want to talk about. Talk to me.
Yeah. There, I of course I've been following all the debates in Parliament, and it's astounding how these people are so arrogant. Like Minister Parag yesterday, it was painful just watching. A simple question was asked. You've got money for all of these markets, Mon Repo, all over the place. They're rehabbing the markets or building them over because a lot of them were on fire. Charity and they. Would you believe, Doc? I mean, I could not believe it that she could not even say how much money is there for each market. I mean, and the MP kept badgering until he had to give up. I mean, that's totally responsible from Minister Parag, but that's the kind of arrogance that we have. And she was enjoying it. She was enjoying not giving information. Then the other thing, this year was Minister Datadin, and
Yes.
he seems to be have a habit of
Good boy.
misrepresenting this full liability coverage or parent company. And all it says is, which is, I was the one who put it into the permit before I left under the administration. I had full support for it to say, if you have a spill, Exxon, the parent company, has to cover that spill. It's a guarantee. It's not costing you anything. He decided to go and talk a lot of stubbornness in Parliament. Of course, it caused me to write a letter, and it started raising questions. So you remember that the Judge Kissoon's ruling in
Yes.
favor of the plaintiffs, Collins and the other guy, to
Yes.
say, yes, they agree with what's in the permit. Exxon has to provide a parent company guarantee. The government joined with Exxon to appeal that case, even though they had already decided the permit. But when the PNC or AFC government left, they threw that aside and think that they can get away with it, except that Kissoon stopped them in their tracks. When they appealed, Judge Richard Pusat said, well, okay, while the appeal is being heard, you need to deposit $2 billion at the EPA. Well, the plaintiff says, well, after a while, we need to see proof that you have deposited the money. Would you believe again, the government went to court to oppose it. And so it came up again in Parliament a couple of days ago. Mr. Datadin again said, well, hey, y'all making a whole bunch of noise. All you got to do is just go down to the EPA and you're going to be able to see the proof of this $2 billion. Well, of course, Kaicho News took them up on the bluff. Kaicho News got down there, and guess what? The EPA told Kaicho News, you need to go to court to file some kind of petition, whatever it is, to see the proof of this $2 billion. And now everybody's believing that there is no $2 billion that is deposited, which is the lawlessness that we're encouraging. We're even going against the orders of the court. It doesn't matter. That's the kind of lawlessness we are not for. This government doesn't care about the rule of law anymore. They don't care. It's a dictatorship, and that's where we're going. But it's a burning shame that in Guyana, in this time, this is what we're having, and the people better start to stand up, because today it might be for a certain set of people, and tomorrow it might be for them who are turning a blind eye.
Dr. Vincent Adams
and,
here.
And the other thing is that going back to school, I forgot to tell the folks that besides the umbrella in Bartico, Rubis, Rubis, the gas station. Rubis had to provide potable water for a school at Temeri. A school at Temeri. They're talking about, but I going back again to how they're ignoring education. And education is the future of this country, to develop our young kids. Rubis had to go and provide potable water for that school. The government is sitting there with all of this money, all of this $5 billion, and to put it into perspective, what the government spent in all of its budget during our 5 years, it's equivalent, when you add it up, that's what they're spending in 1 year. And still, you've got where people have umbrellas in school, and then other people got to provide potable water. Who knows what else is out there that those kids are suffering from?
To those kids are suffering from, I want to shout out to Sister Denise Collison, who's a real trooper. The sister is a real trooper. She is an example of that exemplary citizen with a social conscience. She continues to support all causes. And I just want to shout out, and she says, to whom much is given, much is expected. We must give our monetary support to these needs, the teachers and IPADG. You could not have said it better, sister. Please, We may have to, the teachers are going on strike for 2 weeks. We don't know how long the strike will go. I lost it the other morning because people were talking about strike and strike and strike. A strike is an expensive thing. When you are striking, all right, you have to have support. There is going to be need for strike support depending on where the strike goes. And sister, you are right. And tonight we are asking you to contribute to ITPADG so that we can keep those doors open and for ITPADG to continue to do its work. Give a little. As I always say, you know, $10 is too bare. So, you know, some of you all beer nowadays has gone on quick, you know. So, look, if you intend to drink 8 beers tonight, decide, well, look, you're going to drink 5 and take 3 beer money, 3 beer money, or 2 beer money, and give it to ITPADG to continue to do their work. Let us support our organizations and let us support our teachers. We're calling for boots on the ground. The teachers are putting boots on the ground from Monday. Parents, stand with the teachers. If the teachers win, your children win. If the teachers are happy, your children would be happy. Dr. Adams made the point here. Some of our teachers did things for us that our own parents didn't do. All of us are testimony to that. I meet me teachers today, and I see them. In fact, one of my teacher Finella Abrams, who taught me in Form 2, and continued to teach me even though when I left for class and so on. And we never let an opportunity pass to tell her thanks. She said, "You all just make me feel so old." Because Doc, you know, we used to think that we teachers old. Well, a lot of them were just 4 and 5 and 6 years older than us.
I know.
When I went to California, and my teacher Finella, nieces and them telling me, well, we just went home for Auntie Finella 50th birthday. And I checked myself at that time. I was just about 40. I said, but teacher Finella is just...
You're not kidding. I remember you, and you know the Paris boys.
Yes.
So Hector used to be my teacher when I was a little
kid. I was so saddened when I heard he died, when I asked Malcolm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Hector, I remember, I used to believe that the cruel too. I used to get the living daylights of licks from Hector and another teacher named Winnie Jones, and I thought he used to quit, but they used to look out for me. I remember Hector whipped me, you know, at the end of the year, you know, you got your exams, and then they rank you, you know, for second third in your class. Yeah. Well, I brought third in my class, and Hector benched me in front of the whole school for bringing third.
There you go.
Yes. I never brought third again.
I imagine, and third.
Yes, third. He benched me for bringing third in my class.
Yeah, our teachers are so important.
They looked out. They make sure that you were.
Yeah, I remember dropping down to, I can't remember, 60 something or 70 something in English. Teacher Finella, Regina used to beat you. She used to screw your ears. Where the lady put on a screw in for me ears and so on.
Yeah. But I got you another story with my cricket career. I had a young teacher named Cyril Campbell that taught me at Christian Work School. And of course, you know, I was a little boy, 16 years old. They're picking the 4 schoolboys team to play Caribbean schoolboys in 1966. And of course, nobody remember anybody from Linden. In them days, when you had the road, we had the Irish car.
Right.
So your parents are going to send you to Tongue Norway. Nobody ever hear anything from me. Cyril Campbell took me on the Irish car the Friday night. They had the trials at Central and all over Georgia, and they got trials from kids coming from all over the place except for Linden. And he had a big mouth. He go in front of the selectors and, oh, I've got this boy from Linden. He's the best cricketer. This man start boasting about me. Tell the selector, say, all right, who's this boy, Vincent? And they put me in one of the teams. And I go and I make 24 and I took some wickets. And that is how I got to play on that Force Guyana team and got the exposure. But
Yes.
all right, I would not because cricket had a lot to do even with my academics afterwards, and the opportunities and the exposures. But had it not been for what he did that day, I would have probably never played, to the level that I played and be
Yes.
known.
Yes.
So, teachers again, to me, that's why I like to call them your second parents.
That's
They are
right.
your second parents.
That's right. That's right. And so teachers are going on strike. Let us support them. Let us remember what our own teachers did for us. Shout out to my former teacher, Earl Boson or Kanji Man. A Kanji Man, I remember the man come to Buxton teaching us and so on. He used to put 3 rulers together. And you beat you. He beat you with the flat side of the ruler. He beat you with the other side. And later on, you talked to Boson, and that man said he came to Buxton and he saw enormous talent. And he said, these little black children are not going to go to waste. And so when we waste in time, that man put them 3 rulers together.
Well, you lucky used to get 3 rulers. We used to get wild cane. You know the wild cane.
I know the wild cane.
We used to get that.
Yeah.
Paris.
So many of those people are responsible for us. And today, one of my biggest supporters is Mr. Boson. Always encouraging. Today's day, I'm a big old man now, and I'm still a student. Student. Support our teachers who are going on strike on Monday, beginning on Monday. The government has declared war on them, and we have got to defend them. We have got to defend Coretta McDonald, who they're beginning to hang already. We've got to defend her. That woman is courageous. I always say when I look around on the opposition benches and so on, and I want 2 women warriors to go to war with, give me Simona Brooms and Coretta McDonald. I'm going to war with them because I think that is war bad more than man, and so on. And that is why the government is going after Coretta. We've got to defend that sister, and in defending her, defend our teachers. Doc, anything else you got for us?
Yeah, there's one thing. You remember I told you about this article that I had to write to let Datarin know.
Yes. I saw that letter.
Of course, their mouthpieces started responding. So just the headline alone, I think it was today's or yesterday's. Guess what it says? Just to show where it's open to everybody now. They don't have to hide it. Guess what's the headline? Unlimited parent company guarantee would pose great risk to Exxon. To Exxon. Nothing to do with Guyana. Here, all we were asking, you're producing, you're making billions, maybe $1 trillion. If you have a spill, you got to pay for it. They're saying now to defend it. This is one of the government mouthpieces, a guy, this Robinson or whoever he name, I don't even know who he is. Unlimited parent company guarantee would pose great risk to Exxon. He didn't say nothing, which means that's the government position, because remember they've been appealing the case that says, the ruling that says that Exxon has to pay for any spill. If Exxon doesn't spill, if let's say they don't pay and we got a spill and we've got to cover it, we would be bankrupt. Not only we would be bankrupt, the entire Caribbean would be bankrupt. That spill, the Macondo spill in the Gulf, cost $145 billion. US dollars, by the way. Our entire budget is $5 billion. So we're looking at many times, right? 30 times our budget. Who's gonna afford that, and which Caribbean country? So then they're talking. Even Exxon is saying, well, we would go bankrupt. We would go bankrupt, and the government is saying the same thing, parroting the same. We would go bankrupt if we got a spill. Well, so it's okay for you not to go bankrupt, but it's okay for us to go bankrupt. And that's the nonsense that. But these guys, like I said, Doc, it's open now. They don't care. They're taking Exxon sides against the people when it comes to the oil industry. First of all, we're getting a short change. We're getting 14.5%. To the operators who are getting 85.5%. And now And then on top of that, we don't, we're even risking, we're operating above the safe operating limit, which enhances a spill, and then we don't have anything to cover it on the back end if we get a spill. So that's the position of the government, and which is despicable.
Which is despicable. Dr. Vincent Adams here tonight, and we've been discussing a whole range of issues. Doc, as usual, I want to thank you so much for coming on and lending your expertise and your wisdom to our program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doc. I really appreciate it, and keep up the good work. But I just want to close by saying that, just again, to let the teachers know, let Coretta and her folks know that we're behind her, and whatever if we can communicate, if they can communicate as to what we can offer, we can get from the diaspora, I'll be right at the forefront of making sure that do whatever we can from here.
Do whatever we can from here, and certainly going to hear from us. Our sister Dennis Collison has already initiated and taken an initiative. We're going to talk more about that next week. We're going to talk no more about that next week. Marlon Blair is saying, I remember Mr. Campbell. He was a no-nonsense teacher. You see these.
That's right.
There you go. Dr. Vincent, thank you very much, my brother. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.
I'll see you next
Much appreciated.
Thank you. Dr. Vincent Adams, a wealth of knowledge and certainly a man of the soil, and bringing to us a perspective on a Friday night. The teacher strike starts on Monday. Be prepared to stand with them. We're going to be keeping watch on that strike. And remember, we have to start somewhere. The teachers are showing us the way. Let us stay with them. And please make your contribution to ITPADA G. Please make your contribution to ITPADA G. The digits are on the screen there. ITPADA G needs our help. No matter how small the contribution, we're going to make sure it gets to ITPADA G. We've got to keep those doors open. If we love Shamar Joseph, if we love what he has done for us, then let us contribute towards taking that momentum from Shamar Joseph and laying the groundwork for our eventual victory, a victory for all Guyanese. We're not about exchanging one party for another party. We're about improving the level of governance, improving the quality of governance in Guyana. And if that means that the PPP has to go for us to open the doors for improvement, we've got to do that, but we can't stop there. This thing is bigger than the political parties. Political parties are important. And sometimes we have to make a choice because that's what we are given. But we, the people, we have the keys in our hands. Make your donation to ITPADA G, and I'll see you all next week, Monday. It's weekend. You all, I said, throw back a little on the weekend. Spend some time with the grandchildren, the children, depending on what age you are, and so on, because the children are our future. On Monday, we're going to have a new guest, a brand new guest to Politics 101, and I'm going to see you all then on Monday. Take care of yourselves. The struggle goes on. The struggle goes on. You cannot win anything without struggle. We're in Black History Month, and we're going to be celebrating Blackness during this month. Of course, we celebrate Blackness every month of the year, but we're going to take the opportunity this month to dig for the Last Night Water Show with Vincent Alexander and Eric Phillips. wealth of information, wealth of perspective. They're going to be back next week. Dr. Henry Jeffrey is going to be back next week. We're going to have a new guest next week. We are really going to pan down. We're going to keep monitoring the teachers' strike next week. Next week. This is about our teachers, our other parents, our teachers. Good night.